All right, then. I guess the question is, how far in the middle of nowhere will Errol go to bring you great story or great view? Well, this is like one of them. How do I get a turn here that you can see? It's like here, where my turn alone is difficult. How far will this guy go? How far will this guy go to get me my story? I'm just pushing my nose through the trees. It's all water down there. You can see my road. How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will he go to bring me the story? How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will he go to bring me great story? How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will Trench go to bring me my story? How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will he go to bring me my story? How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will he go to bring me great story? How far will he go? How far will he go? There's very little room for error here. Extreme margin. How far will he go to bring me the story? How far will he go? How far will he go? How far will he go to bring me my story? Now, the water route with your boat will be more efficient than me driving. You can see it's all, the path is very narrow, but there's beautiful water down below. Like real beautiful water down below. Real, it's the car rocking. Probably if you're gonna turn around, that's the only place here wide enough to turn around. Water beneath me. Whoop. How far will he go? Now, some beautiful property here. Extremely beautiful property. Stunning property. there is absolutely zero margin here. Of course, firewood, logwood for the fire. Well, these are, you saw me rocking because, of course, the car is rocking. Of course, you can see that down there. And back to my margin. It's extremely small road, extremely small driving path, but don't worry about that because, oh, there goes another. So let's talk a little bit. Trust that you're okay anywhere you are. Trust that you are well. How are you feeling? I hope you are well. How are you feeling? I hope you are excellent. I hope you're getting a chance. Some of life's beautiful nature. I hope you're getting a chance to get some of the fresh air. Some places it's summer all the time. Some places it's winter and summer. Every now and then, all depends on the area where you are and the season in which you are in. When we talk about season, I love to impart upon individuals about their season. I love to let everybody knows that every man and woman do got their season. Sometimes it seems to me that well, let's put it this way. I'm not sure when it comes on to mangoes. I love mango. And when it comes on to some of the other tropical fruits, each and every thing has its time. Sometimes if you base your opinion on other people's season, you could be frustrated because some people season, your season could be completely, or that time when their season or in the season of flourishing, you could be just cutting down your land, cutting the bush. You could be in the shrub cutting. I love to tell people, don't worry about another man's season. I really want to encourage somebody, do not get frustrated of another man's or another woman's season. I would say to you, wait on your season. Don't get frustrated. Don't get discouraged. Wait on your season. I cannot tell you how many individuals whom they did not wait on their season, and unfortunately they took a season or make something their season that was not their season, and there was or end up to be a massive price paid in between. Meaning, your season may be the season when other individuals are in drought. Take the Bible story of when Joseph was sold. Joseph in the Bible. Let's take a look at the situation with Joseph into slavery. First thing first, he mentioned to his father about his dream. And his father was extremely disappointed with the fact of Joseph's dream. Boy, don't say that, because you're saying that your brothers will serve you. So as a father, I believe he was actually trying to not to let his brother or his son speak in that way, but it was the dream of his son Joseph. Nevertheless, Joseph ended up, you can tell my voice is going a bit, Joseph ended up, the brothers heard about it and they weren't feeling so great about it. So that's why sometimes you have to be very careful how you share your dreams. Let me say this again. Sometimes you must be very careful how you share your dreams. Whether it's a dream of pillow dream or a vision dream or just a ambitious dream. Whether it's been told to your brother, your sister, your neighbor, not everybody will appreciate your dream. So let's make sure that within your dream, you understand that the moment someone else heard about your dream, automatically you could be creating an instant enemy. So Joseph shared his dream with his brothers, and you can actually say this was not gonna go down right. One, they were out in the field, as they went out all the time to do what they does or what they generally do for their father, and they saw him coming and they say, here comes the dreamer. And what do you believe? They took counsel with each other and came up with a plan. And that plan is, how will we treat this dreamer? This plan was what we will do to this dreamer. Ladies and gentlemen, they planned to kill him. But someone in the midst among his brothers said, let's not kill him. Let us sell him as slave. However, we will make up a story that we all agreed and let our father know that he was killed by a wild animal. So the coat in which Joseph had, you know the story, the coats of many color, I believe that they use the things of blood to let it be on his coat, but to go back to the father and let him know that his son was killed by wild beasts. So Joseph had a dream, but you could actually say Joseph was not in his season. Joseph was sold. They put him down in a pit first of all, and then later on he was sold as slave. And Joseph ended up down in Egypt as a slave. And then again, later on, he was lied on, and so on and so on and so on. Not his season. Not his season. Ladies and gentlemen, many of you are going through circumstances because it is not your season. Many of you are going through circumstances because it is not your season. And when it is not your season, whoever you are, endure the midnight. Learn to endure the midnight. However, so Joseph was not in his season. Now watch this. During that time, the things is being set up for Joseph, where Joseph had the ability to dream or to interpret dreams. So look what happened. Joseph's gifts made room for him. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this again. Joseph's gift, what he was gifted with, made room for him. I want to say to you, you and I sometimes complain. But ladies and gentlemen, your gift will make room for you. Not another man's gift. Your gift will make room for you. So that meant you should work on your gift. Don't leave where you are to go check out somebody else's gift. Work on your gift. Work on your talent. Work on your skill. Because your gift will make room for you. But Errol, I got no gift. Good. Keep working. But what am I working on? Every individual got something inside of them. Every individual. Do you understand me? Everyone got a gift inside of them. It's for some of us to find out what is our gift. Maybe we have to pray to God and say, God, what is my gift? Because God has not left any man. Do you understand me? There are people who are gifted and people who are talented, and there are people who, I'm being very honest. So Joseph had the gift of dream interpretation. And in spite of what happened, his gift is going to make room for him, Joseph. But Joseph went through the midnight. He went through the dark hours. Joseph went through the midnight. He went through the dark hours. My question, are you willing to go through the midnights? Are you willing to go through the dark hours? Joseph literally did not lay down on his gift even though he was in prison. So let me say this. Many times we got a situation, and because we got a problem, we are completely discouraged, unmotivated, and became completely selfish. Selfish meaning because we are down, because we don't have enough, because we believe that we were left on the sidewalk to die, we expect everybody else to go through the same. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph interpreted a dream while he was in prison. And then later on, while Joseph was in prison, Joseph was still in prison, in other words, going through his midnights. Do you understand me? Sold out by your brothers, thrown in a pit, discouraged by your father who said, boy, don't speak those words against your brother. But his father loved him. Sold as a slave. Is it feeling painful yet? Lied on by a woman. Is it sound painful yet? Thrown in prison. Is it sound any more painful? Even prisoners came out of prison and leave you there. Real prisoner, how is it sounding and how is it feeling? But Joseph's gift was working even in his own absence. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph's gift was working in his absence even while Joseph, was in prison. Because when the king had a dream, he was stuck and none of his wise individual could interpret that dream. Now, when I say wise individual, he could not come up with the answer. No one could help him. And then here came that man that was in prison who said, wait a minute, while I was in prison, my other prison companion, my friend had a dream, and this lad that came there interpreted the dream and said what was going to happen, that my friend was going to be put to death, the one who had the dream, and I was going to be restored. And as he said, is exactly what happened. So he interpreted the dream. And guess what? The king sent for him. So now he got a chance to go back to the very same place where he was lied on, I believe. Where he was lied on. And so said that the king told him the story and he interpreted the dream, and it was about the famine that gonna sweep through the land. And because Joseph was able to come up with the dream, Joseph was given the power and the authority. Joseph was given the authority to govern that situation over the provinces. Do you understand how your gift can make provision? Now this very same story, similar in dream interpretation, happened with Daniel. With Daniel in the Bible. Similar situation with dream, the ability to interpret dreams. You do not need to lie to survive. God will make provision for you. If you only trust the living Almighty, the living God, if you only trust Him, even though it seems as everyone else is flying high and you are being left behind, God will make room for you. The king in Daniel's case, all his wise men could not interpret the king's dream. And the king himself was extremely angry that here he is, got all these wise men, and none of them were of any value to interpret his dream. So he was extremely angry and decided to put them, all these individuals, to death. Daniel petitioned the king. He heard why the king is angry, and Daniel petitioned the king. Is anybody hearing me? Daniel petitioned the king and said, King, let me get a crack at your dream. Now, I believe the king told all those others his dream, his wise people, but all they needed to do was to interpret it. They couldn't. But Daniel went to the king, not only for himself, because many of them are going to put to death. And Daniel went to their mercy. And the king said to Daniel, Daniel, I will not tell you the dream. Why don't you tell me the dream and then give me the interpretation? So Daniel got it a lot harder. Daniel got it more difficult because Daniel got to tell the king his dream and then in turn interpret the dream. Oh my God, really? But you see, ladies and gentlemen, I just think that the God of heaven is just so wonderful that He will never let down His people. Now though, you may say to me, but Errol, Joseph was sold by his brothers. Joseph was hated by his brothers. You said God won't do this and God won't do that, but Joseph was thrown in a pit. Errol, Joseph was sold as a slave by his own brothers. Errol, Potiphar's wife, lied on Joseph, lied on him. Errol, he again was sent to prison. Lord have his mercy. But now I don't know how to interpret everything, but I can tell you that in life I got my share of headaches. But I learned to understand, Errol, man will say and man will do. You can't stop everybody, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot stop everybody from saying evil things about you. Let me encourage somebody right now. You cannot stop any individual who will speak evil against you. You cannot stop them. You know, I think you need to remember that the Bible said, love your enemy. I don't know what people will do to become your enemy, but the Bible said, love your enemies. So watch this. Joseph went through his midnight. Joseph went through his midnight. Not once, not twice. You know what I mean? He has long midnights. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you this very day, for those of you who are going through your midnights, I encourage you that you do not throw the towel in. Do not get overly frustrated. Do not succumb to those who hate you. Do not succumb to those who despitefully use you. Do not succumb to those who disrespect you. Do not succumb to those who dishonor your name. Do not succumb to those who leave you on the side of the road to die. Do not succumb to those. In spite of all things, trust the living God. Trust the living Savior. Trust the Lord God Almighty. Trust Him. Believe in Him. The slave became the governor. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what men will say about you. God can make you the governor. It doesn't matter what man may say about you. God can make you a public figure. It doesn't matter what man may say about you. God will and can appoint you.